Help me shape the story.
They already know the story.
They know the facts. The story is yet to be told.
Tom Cruise has spent decades doing the impossible on screen, but Digger may be the first time he looks like someone who should never be trusted with anything more dangerous than a houseplant. Warner Brothers has released a wild new trailer for Alejandro G. Iñárritu's dark satire, and Cruise is almost unrecognizable as Digger Rockwell, a powerful oil tycoon trying to save the world from a global catastrophe he may have created himself. That premise sounds insane, and the trailer makes it clear that insanity is exactly the point. I have seen Cruise hang from planes, sprint across rooftops, fly fighter jets, and throw himself off cliffs. None of that prepared me for this. Digger is not another Ethan Hunt. He is loud, arrogant, persuasive, and convinced that reality should adjust itself to whatever he wants. Iñárritu describes him the most charismatic disaster we have ever seen. Digger looks like a man who could destroy the planet during breakfast and still convince everyone at lunch that he deserves a medal. The trailer opens with talking heads burning down the house, which is an obvious joke, but it works. Digger sits calmly petting his cat while someone explains that the animal has somewhere between 2 weeks and 5 minutes left to live. That line establishes the tone immediately. Death is close, the world is unstable, and Digger seems more fascinated than worried. From there, the footage launches into political panic. Military aircraft flying over ice, bizarre public appearances, and Cruise dancing with a shovel like the collapse of civilization is another branding opportunity. John Goodman appears as the President of the United States, and his attitude toward Digger may explain the entire film. He tells the public that Digger got everyone into this mess, and Digger will get them out. It is funny, but also disturbingly believable. Powerful people create disasters, then present themselves as the only people qualified to fix them. Digger is the disease and the cure, the arsonist and the firefighter, the salesman and the product. That is where the satire become much sharper than the trailer's surface-level chaos. This is not just a comedy about an eccentric billionaire. It looks like a movie about power, influence, self-mythology, and the way charisma can make terrible ideas feel reasonable. Iñárritu said the most dangerous people make you want to agree with them. That explains why Cruise is such an interesting choice. Audiences are trained to follow him, trust him, and believe he can solve impossible problems. Digger seems designed to weaponize that trust. Cruise also sounds completely different. His voice is heavier and less polished than the controlled confidence we usually hear from him. The hair, face, posture, and movement make him look older, rougher, and more ridiculous without turning him into a cartoon. This kind of performance could easily become too much, but Cruise appears committed enough to make the exaggeration feel deliberate. The cast around him is stacked. Jesse Plemons, Sandra Hüller, Riz Ahmed, Emma Darcy, Sophie Wilde, Robert John Burke, Gorman, Michael Stuhlbarg, and John Goodman all appear in a film that surrounds Digger with intelligent people who may still be unable to stop him. The world does not always collapse because nobody understands the danger. Sometimes everyone understands it, but the man causing it is too rich, too useful, or too entertaining to remove. Iñárritu has been developing the idea for roughly 10 years. He explained that the character came to him after The Revenant, not as a finished story, but as a relentless obsession. He knew how Digger spoke, survived, and convinced reality to agree with him. What he did not know was how to tell the story. That long development period suggests this is not a random comedy created around a famous actor. It sounds like a personal project Iñárritu has been circling for years that makes Digger especially interesting within Iñárritu's career. Birdman attacked ego and celebrity through dark comedy, while The Revenant was brutal and almost mythic. Digger appears to combine those instincts, using the scale of a disaster movie for a psychological character study. The movie was shot in VistaVision, and that may be more important than it sounds. At the trailer event, the filmmakers emphasized the format's height, clarity, and deep visual field. The frame should allow the audience to see more of the world around Digger while the chaos unfolds. That is useful for satire because background details often carry half the joke. A politician smiling at the wrong moment, a disaster happening behind a speech, or a room full of people pretending everything is normal can say more than a close-up. The visual approach also separates this movie from the franchise blockbusters surrounding it. Spider-Man Brand New Day, Avengers, Doomsday, and Dune Part 3 arrive with built-in fandoms. Digger does not. It is an original project with an unpredictable tone and a lead actor disappearing into a character who looks nothing like his usual heroic image. A lot of that attention is already turning toward awards season. Early predictions have Digger in the Best Picture conversation, and some believe Cruise could finally win a competitive Academy Award for acting. He received an honorary Oscar this year, but has never won for a specific performance despite nominations for Born on the 4th of July, Jerry Maguire, and Magnolia. If Digger gives him a role that is funny, frightening, tragic, and unlike his action persona, the Academy may find it difficult to ignore. Still, awards predictions can become a trap. One strange performance gets a strong trailer, and suddenly everyone decides it is an Oscar before seeing the movie. I am more interested in whether the character works for to full hours. Digger is designed to dominate every scene, but the film needs to give him more than speeches, dancing, and grotesque confidence. If we eventually understand the insecurity or emptiness underneath the performance, Cruise could deliver something genuinely special. The trailer also leaves one major question unanswered: what exactly did Digger do? We know he helped create a global catastrophe, and the world now expects him to solve it. But the details remain hidden. Is this an environmental collapse linked to his oil empire? A political disaster? A technological experiment? Or something even more absurd? Keeping that vague is smart because the mystery makes every image feel unstable. What I like most is that Digger does not seem afraid of looking ridiculous. Cruise has protected a specific heroic image for years, and here he appears willing to destroy it. He dances, shouts, poses, pets a dying cat, and moves through the trailer like a man who has mistaken the end of the world for his personal stage. That willingness to become ugly, funny, and pathetic could be the most exciting part of the performance. The movie may also arrive at exactly the right cultural moment. We live in an era where billionaires present themselves as saviors, public disasters become entertainment, and confidence matters more than competence. Digger seems built from those anxieties. He may be fictional, but the type is familiar. That recognition could make the comedy uncomfortable, because the best satire usually feels only slightly more extreme than reality. Digger opens in theaters on October 2nd. I want to know what you think about this transformation. Does Tom Cruise look like he is heading toward the boldest performance of his career? Or does the movie seem too strange for its own good? Either way, the trailer accomplished something difficult. In a year packed with superheroes, sequels, and giant franchises, it made an original dark comedy feel like a genuine event. And if Digger Rockwell is even half as dangerous as Iñárritu says, the world inside this movie may be doomed before the opening credits finish.